Welcome to You Make the Difference. I'm Wanda Walker, and today we're talking to Courtney Buchanan, who is Miss Black Georgia USA.
Yes.
And Courtney is from Franklin, and we're so excited to have you on our show.
I'm so excited to be here.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about the pageant world?
Yes. Okay. So there are so many different pageant systems, and a lot of people oftentimes aren't aware of that. There's the Miss USA system, there's Miss America, Miss Black USA, Miss Black America, and people even think that once you hit a certain age, you cap out and that's it. It's not true.
Right.
They have an entire Mrs. category. For instance, the Miss Georgia Central pageant is coming up this upcoming April, and they compete for a title Miss International. So there's lots of different things that you can get involved in up to the age 50 plus, quite frankly.
Yes. So how long have you been involved in the pageant world?
Honestly, this was only my second pageant.
Yes.
So we're going into year 3 now.
Wow. Okay, where was your first pageant?
I did a university pageant. I was Miss Oak Ridge University my senior year, 2016-2017.
Well, that's great. Okay, why did you choose to be a part of the Miss Black Georgia USA system?
The Miss Black Georgia USA system, they emphasize 3 main things: sisterhood, service, and scholarship, each which resonate with me deeply. And in addition to that, oftentimes with the pageant world, there's a staple look or a certain way that you have to present yourself and things of that nature that sometimes they don't always accept the differences that come, right?
Yes.
And so with the Miss Black Georgia USA system, they're extremely acceptive of all these different, things that you may bring to the table, be it hair or just, the way you dress or whatever it may be. Very, very open to doing those things. And then lastly, what really stood out to me the most was the fact that they seek to solve issues in the African American community specifically. And not that, the reach isn't extended beyond there, but that is a main focus of the organization.
Okay, so you mentioned 3 components. Take each component and tell me what that means to you.
Okay. Sisterhood is where I'll start. I'm the youngest of 7.
Yes.
So having lots of siblings around and things of that nature, people often think, oh, okay, well, you have 7 siblings, right? So you're really close to them all. Well, I'm the youngest of 7. So
Yes.
all of my siblings are like 30 plus years old. So growing up, although I was surrounded by siblings, at the same time, it was hard for us to connect because they were so much older than me. So going to school and being able to find sisters,
Yes.
right, who were closer to my age and could relate to me more and things of that nature truly benefited me. And this organization offers just that. I have 16 sister queens that are throughout the state of Georgia. We talk all the time.
Wow,
We
yes.
do service activities together. We support each other, and we're all around the same age, all kind of sort of doing those same things. And I just think that that's so important to have that support system, that community around you. Next, scholarship. Education is very important. I recently graduated in May.
Yes.
Having that tool as a tool of access to get further ahead in life, this organization gives away thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in scholarship every year.
That's great.
Not just our state, but nationwide, including nationals. So Miss Black USA, she receives a very large scholarship, so she can continue on in her education as well. And then service. I think service is something that is at the core and at the heart of everything that I attain and attribute to do in my life. Helping people as a Christian, I think that's what God calls us to do.
Yes.
And we make sure that we're not just a crown. We make sure that we get out in the community. We work, which means sometimes we take off our crowns. Other people may not know who we are, but we know who we are, and that's
Yes.
what matters. So that we're helping people and we're meeting the needs of the people.
All right, and the 16 other queens, are they like queens of the city?
Yes.
And they competed in the Miss Georgia pageant, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so y'all have bonded together.
Yes.
Okay, what is the mission of Miss Black Georgia?
The mission of Miss Black Georgia is, again, it falls back on those 3 things: to be a sister to your sister queens, to invest and know the importance of education and give back in scholarship to the community, and then to serve those around you.
Yes, and we're going to talk about your platform, which I'm really excited about. But why is it important that the Miss Black Georgia pageant exists?
I think, again, it goes back to celebrating those differences sometimes that come from different ethnic communities. We know that America is made up of so many different ethnic backgrounds. It's truly a melting pot. Sometimes people say that New York is like the ultimate melting pot, but I think the U.S. in totality is just a huge melting pot of different cultures, different ethnic backgrounds, be it food, be it hair, be it fashion, all of that. And the Miss Black Georgia USA system seeks to celebrate those differences of African American women specifically.
Yes, that's great. Okay, so how did you prepare for the Miss Georgia?
Ooh, how did I prepare?
Yes.
Okay, this is going to sound really funny, but one thing that I just made a point to do from August to November was to walk straight with my back straight all the time. And it's the little things, like I said, like walking straight, making sure that you are cognizant of your surroundings, making sure that your head is held high, and different things like that that will translate to on stage. In addition to that, I sought help.
Yes.
Because you get some people who have been doing pageants since they were 3. That is not my story.
Yes.
So I had to seek some extra help, and I'd had some formal training from my last pageant, but of course that was over a year ago. So I sought some help, met with a coach, did some walking practice. You always want to pick a killer talent. A lot of the times talent is what makes the difference. There's a tip for you guys.
Yes.
Talent, that's what makes the difference. Killer talent, making sure that you're within the time limits that the pageant has set, making sure that you deliver it right every single time. And that's something that when I do begin pageant practice, that every single time has to be excellent. Excellence isn't performing at a high rate one time, it's doing it multiple times.
Yes.
So yes, coaching and then just implementing those practices into my day-to-day life from August upward to pageant in November.
And what was your talent?
I sang, actually.
Yes.
I sang a song.
What did you sing?
I sang a spiritual Deep River.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. And it kind of a funny story. I actually came prepared to do a different talent. And then the weekend of, someone said to me, "Why aren't you singing?" And I said, I don't know. They said, just sing something. Let's just hear it. And honestly, I've sung since I was 4. I've done lessons. I've done touring choir since high school into college, so I've had a lot of formal training. So I sung a song. I'm thinking I'm kind of rusty. This is about to be bad. And they were like, "Why aren't you singing? You need to sing." So I ended up singing spiritual, and I fall more in a classical range of music. So
yes. And so what were you planning to do?
Originally, I was doing a monologue that I had self-written, and then my props were like props that I had created, like the outfit that I was going to be wearing. I had made that, and I sing a little bit in there to show, hey, so she can sing, and she can act, and she can, kind of like a triple threat. But they told me a very informative piece of advice that I'll never forget. They said, you don't always need a triple threat if the one thing you do better than everyone else.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I wish we had planned for you to sing.
Oh, no, it's okay.
So how do you win the title?
Okay. There are multiple categories that you compete in. The first is a personal interview that happens early in the day. You have a one-on-one with the judges. It's about 10 minutes. They are open to ask you anything that they want to ask you. So it can cover politics, it can cover state government, it can cover issues that pertain to Georgians alone or nationally. After that, you spend the rest of your day just kind of getting ready, getting mindset right. It's a lot of pageantry is mindset. First up, you do an opening number. You give an introduction, and there's also an opening dance. The opening dance and the introduction you're not judged on, but of course, they're gaining some type of a perception of you, so you always want to deliver. After that, they move into a sportswear. A lot of pageants tend to have swimsuit. But the Miss Black Georgia and the Miss Black USA system, they focus on sportswear just to kind of bring awareness to the health issues that exist in the African American communities and to say, hey, be fit, be active, this is important.
Yes.
Yes. So you go into a sportswear. Then after sportswear, you'd go into your talent section. After your talent section, there's then an on-stage interview question. This one isn't given to you by the judges, it's given to you by whomever is curating for the night. And then after that, you do your formal walk. And based on your scores in all those categories is how Miss Black Georgia is chosen.
Yes.
And the same follows for Miss Black USA.
Okay, where do you get more information about you and the pageant?
Well, I'm so happy everybody asked. On Sunday, my website, CourtneyBuchanan.com, will be live, so
Yay.
please check it out. On there, you'll be able to book me or find out information about the pageant, as well as just other things that I do maybe on the side as far as events goes and things of that nature. And you can also visit Miss Black Georgia USA Pageant.com. Their website is always live. You can find out what you need to know as far as the rules, as far as running for next year, as far as obtaining your city title. All that information is there for you and just open to the public.
Yes, and so Franklin, Georgia.
Yes, that's where I'm from.
Yes, Franklin, Georgia had a Miss Franklin.
Yes. Well, the title would be Miss Black Franklin because
Miss
of
Black-
the system that it falls under.
That's right. And so how can LaGrange do that?
Literally all they would have to do is go to that website. So if there's anybody in the city who wants to join the system, go to the website. On there, there's a way that you can send an email directly to the directors and they'll say, okay. And as many girls as sign up, if they don't want to move to the place of having an actual pageant in this city,
Yes.
then it will be by interview.
Okay.
And they'll go through an application process. After their application is accepted, then they'll go through an interview process, depending upon the magnitude and the amount of girls, the interview may be in various stages to just kind of break away, just like you do in the pageant where you have multiple arenas to compete in. And then from there, Miss Black LaGrange will be chosen.
Yes, and so would that be people from LaGrange who would be doing the interviewing?
No, ma'am. It would be the state directors and the state board.
Okay.
And the directors specifically are located in Albany, Georgia, which is where the pageant was. That is the headquarters for Miss Black Georgia. But there are other members of the board that are throughout the state.
Okay. All right, great. What are the ages and requirements to become a part of Miss Black Georgia?
The ages range from, so sorry, my head hit a blank. Ages range from 18 to 27.
Yes.
To be a part of Miss Black Georgia. And you need to fall within that range before and during the pageant. And so let's say that maybe you turn 28 right after the pageant. As long as you were 27 during your state pageant,
Yes.
then you are still eligible to go on and compete for Miss Black USA.
Yes, well that's great. Now, so what happens next?
For me, I go on to compete for Miss Black USA August of this year.
Yay.
Hopefully, we will bring home the state title. Georgia
Yes.
hasn't won quite yet. And this pageant's been around for a lot of years, so we're hoping that Georgia will bring it home this year.
Yes, we are.
Yes, our last Miss Black Georgia, Shawnee Rawls, she came in third runner-up, and that was crazy because, believe it or not, that was her first pageant.
Wow.
That was her first pageant. Last
Wow.
year, for Miss Black Georgia, because they were in transition with their directors, they actually ended up doing interviews, a series of interview rounds. I think they had 3 or 4 rounds of interviews that she had to go through, to be chosen. And she was native of Savannah, and I believe that there were about 18 girls, and Miss Shawnee Rawls pulled through. And so
Yes.
Miss Black USA in DC was her first pageant.
Wow.
And she pulled third. That is phenomenal.
That is.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's talk about your platform.
Okay.
All right, tell me what your platform is.
All right. Well, my platform is entitled Boss Up, and it's basically meaning that you should be a boss in all areas of your life, right? But an issue a lot of the times that we hear a lot in the Black community is financial literacy and the possibility of jumping from economic stratospheres. How do we do that? I think that one of the major keys to both of those is entrepreneurship. When you're an entrepreneur, you learn better how to manage your funds. You learn how to budget. You learn all these necessary life skills that oftentimes we may not have. And then sometimes, although I was blessed to get a college education, sometimes education isn't always an option to people.
Yes.
So how can they still jump economic stratospheres? How can they still be an active part of American society and the economy? Entrepreneurship.
Yes.
And my platform goes about teaching them how to not only build a business, but find funding for that business. How do you start from nothing and build something?
Wow. And so how did you learn that?
My mom actually is a financial advisor, one. And then in my process of trying to figure out what I wanted my platform to be, I actually decided to start a business. And I have a fashion line coming out in March.
Oh, yay.
And so in me going through that process, I was like, everyone needs to learn this, because this is a way to financial freedom that I actually wasn't taught in college. And I loved my college experience, and it gave me so many tools and
Right.
things of that nature. But these kind of common sense things I never learned.
Yes.
And I firmly believe that everyone needs to learn it. And more importantly, we need to learn it early.
Yes.
So I want to get into schools and be able to show them, hey, here's how you do this. And even if you don't want to take the step to be an entrepreneur, here's how you stay financially apt to have, a better future and just managing what you have well.
Yes, that's awesome. Okay, now how can the viewers help you?
Well, I still have to get to nationals, so we're fundraising. So if you'd like to donate,
Yes.
that information will be on my site, CourtneyBuchanan.com, as well as the pageant site. And then in addition to that, I'm always looking for opportunities to serve and to get involved and active in the community, be it my local community with me being from Heard County, or spread out. Just this past weekend, I went to an event put on by Miss Janice Shelton, and it was a sex trafficking education teen summit. And it gave the girls an opportunity to also get image makeovers. And she extended the invitation to me to be able to come in and speak with the girls. And it was just a phenomenal experience. Girls from all over, who came to Atlanta to be a part of this teen summit and be educated on being aware of how to avoid such circumstances.
Yes.
And then empowering those who may have been there, who were in those circumstances, to get out of them and how to do that. So just an extremely powerful event, powerful event. And it was just free, open to the public, and I was just so blessed to be able to be a part of it. So please let me know. Send me a message. I have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. All of my stuff is at Miss Black Georgia, so
Yes.
it's really easy.
Yes.
Send me a message on there, send me an email, anything. I just want to be able to get involved. And I don't want a free weekend. I don't want a free weekend from now until when I start prepping for pageant. I do not want a free weekend. So.
Wow. Yes, and I'm sure there are many little girls who are looking in today and admiring you, and that you're inspiring, and I love that. You had mentioned in your platform about building wealth. Mm-hmm. Talk about that.
I think that oftentimes in the Black community, something that we fail to do is build generational wealth. And to build generational wealth, that means I have to have something first to give you, right?
Right.
And so how do we do that? We have to then have something tangible that we can hand over. My mom has been huge on this in her building her business. Even if you don't want this business, somebody has to take it,
Yeah.
And making sure that she has assets and what those assets look like, and making sure that she's investing, and making sure that we're investing, making sure that we are making a point to put away money and save money that then we can pass down to our children, and so on and so forth. And that's how we begin to change your economic stratosphere in which you and your family exist.
Yes. And what are some of the areas that she has encouraged you to invest in?
My mom has a major bearing for mutual funds. And I remember when I went to high school, I actually had to take economics.
Yes.
And we went through Dave Ramsey's plan. And that was what he said: diversification, diversify, diversify, diversify.
That's right.
And his first one was mutual funds, because it gives you access to larger businesses or larger entities, to invest in those entities. But where you wouldn't be able to do it by yourself, you put in some, I put in some, Miss Sally down the street puts in some,
Yes.
Ann up the road puts in some, and now we have enough to say go and invest in Google.
Yes.
We're by ourselves, our little bit wasn't a whole lot, so we couldn't really make it, but now we can. So mutual funds, another thing, my mom does encourage us to have stock in things that their stock really won't change a whole lot, because it's stuff we're always going to need. So maybe like Walmart presently.
Yes.
Walmart's pretty stable.
Yes.
Everybody needs something from Walmart. So things of that nature, finding things where there's, when it's low, buy some in that company and then just let it sit there. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. And then also just making sure that from every paycheck, you put some aside. And I think probably, I said that mutual funds was her first thing, but I take that back. Her actual first thing is tithing.
Yes.
Giving back to God what is God's. Making sure that we understand that none of it's really ours, even though we're here trying to, create a stockpile of it for a rainy day. None of it's really ours, and giving God what He's asked us to give Him first, off the top, no questions asked.
Yes, and when you give in the kingdom, it's multiplied back to you.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
that's really just an investment that's guaranteed, isn't it?
Time after time after time. Do you actually have time for a quick story?
Yes.
All right, so pageantry can be expensive.
Yes.
It can be very expensive. There are entry fees. There are clothing fees. You have to have all your attire for all the different sections of the pageant. As much as I can do my own makeup, I don't want to do it pageant day because I want to be focused on the things that I'm trying to deliver from memory. I want to be focused on my stage presence and things of that nature. So then you need to pay someone to do your hair. You need to pay someone to do your makeup, just all these different pieces. And then travel fees. I don't live in Albany.
Right.
I live closer to 3 hours away from Albany, 2.5, something like that. So then not only are you there for the pageant day, you're there the day before the pageant, and maybe the day before that. We were there from Friday to Sunday.
The hotel.
Hotel fees, food fees, all these things. So how do we, pay for all of that? Well, grace and mercy of God, between, I had a lot of help, a lot of donors who were like, oh yeah, sure, I'll sponsor that, I'll sponsor that, I'll sponsor that. Everything was all worked out, thought I had it all down to a T. Everything covered. And I had called earlier that week to make sure that my hotel room that I could pay in cash. And I said, let me just call again. So I called Friday morning. I'm about to get on the road. And they said, oh, no, you have to have a $200 deposit in addition to the room fee if you pay in cash.
Wow.
Right. I said, okay. So I talked to my mom, and she said, well, I'll just do the deposit on my card, and then that way, or I'll pay for the room on my card, and, you don't have to do all of that. And they said, oh, well, see, if you do that, she has to come with you because we don't take cards over the phone. And my mom couldn't come till Sunday.
Yes.
So, okay, well, Courtney, you just take the card and do it. Well, see, her name's on it, and yours isn't, so that's not going to work either.
That's right.
So what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I said, okay, I have tithe to pay, so I can't take it from my tithe. I can't do it. I can't do it. So I'm not sure what I'm about to do right now. Then my dad called, and he said, so how's everything? You ready? Da-da-da. Didn't even tell him the issue, quite frankly. I said, I'm just going to talk to my dad. Didn't tell him the extent of the issue, I guess I should say. Well, nonetheless, he ends up saying, he was like, hey, here's just something to help you defray any pageant expenses that you may have. It was the exact amount.
$200.
The exact amount.
Yes.
And I had everything that I needed, and I was able to pay tithe. And then I got that back.
That's right. God is
So when you purpose in your heart to serve God first, He just makes a way out of nowhere. Stuff just start popping in.
He does,
And it
doesn't
just
he?
started
He knows
popping
what
in.
we need before we ask him.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, he's wonderful. Okay, so what other initiatives do you have underway?
We are working on a national holiday,
Okay.
just to kind of celebrate being Black women
Yes.
in Georgia and things of that nature. In addition to that, and working on my platform, I want to do a college tour throughout the state of Georgia, going to different schools and just teaching about financial literacy. But as you know, my platform specifically is to affect middle schoolers.
Yes.
So that is my main focus, but I know that we're definitely going to add in a college tour as well on that journey. Because I sing,
Yes.
working on just different musical events and attaching to different symphonies throughout the state. One, Sinfonia, it's a youth orchestra.
Yes.
Hopefully get to sing with them later on this year. And then I wanted to hone in on this health aspect because it's just so important. My mom is the only living of her 7 siblings now.
Wow.
And it's not because they were so much older, but because of a lack of health and fitness, a lack of making sure that they ate right, that they exercised enough.
Yes.
And it's just so important. And most of her siblings I didn't even know because they passed away before I was even born due to hypertension, diabetes, heart failure, the list goes on. And including her siblings, took my grandparents as well. So I never met my mom's parents.
Yes.
So I just have a really huge bearing on my heart to make sure that we give Georgians the tools that they need to be healthy and fit, even if they don't necessarily have the money for a gym membership. So on my Instagram and on my Facebook, once a month, starting in the month of February, we are going to be doing exercises. So you can tune into lives, and we're going to do workouts.
Oh, that's great.
Once a week, every week, up until pageant prep. And they can tune in, and they will be body weight exercises, so they won't need, stuff. They won't need weights. They won't need gym equipment to get it done. You will just use your body to do it. So, and then in addition to that, posting recipes and just different things of that nature. How can we make this healthier?
Yes.
How can we make this more nutritious to our bodies? And, just that whole process there. So,
yes.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Okay. When you're not wearing your crown, what are you doing?
When I'm not wearing my crown, what am I doing? Man, even when you're not wearing your crown, you're wearing your crown. Because as long as someone knows that title's attached to you, they see that title before they see you. So funny. When I was Miss Oakwood, a friend of mine came to visit, and she said, I was sitting in church, and somebody said, oh, I've never seen you here. And she said, oh, I'm visiting Courtney. And they're like, you mean Miss Oakwood? No, Courtney. Yeah, Miss Oakwood. So sometimes people tend to see the title before they see the person. But I am either working, I am watching my nephews. My sister recently had a baby, and he's like 5 months now. I am either shopping, hanging out with my friends. I love just kind of being a part of life, I guess you could say. So all lawn concerts, although it's been too cold for those, any type of events that are happening, professional building events, stuff like that. I'm like, oh, I'm there.
Yes.
So all of those types of things.
Okay. Well, I want to just wish you the best.
Thank you so much.
In your pageant, and say that, you have a beauty, a physical beauty, but you have a spiritual beauty, and I'm sure that beauty will come forth, and that everybody will be able to see it. And I just thank you so much for coming and making a difference in the lives of the people that you touch. And I'd also like to thank you for the difference in the lives of the people that you touch. Thank you for watching You Make the Difference. We'll see you next week.
It's a year of replevin'. Got a promise from heaven. It's all coming back. Everything Satan has stolen